Let me explain. When you cast a movie, you must cast extras, filler characters, background people, essentially. This artificial consciousness is not here to hurt you or to trick you. It serves mainly two functions. The first function is to show us who we aren't by acting out and exhibiting inverted aspects of unity consciousness. The second function of the soulless beings, or backdrop people, has been to sustain the third-dimensional illusion externally, allowing us the one-way ticket towards internal work. We have been existing in a construct. This is not a metaphor or an exaggeration. Earth as we know it has been what I term a purgatorial dumping ground. Earth is essentially a giant net that is here to catch our dualistic purges. Thus, we're displayed every aspect of consciousness that is opposite of our true divine nature. This is the only reason why this realm seems so backwards. It's not because evil reigns or because we are being held captive. Quite the contrary. All around us are beings who seem like us, but they are not of us. Many are awakening. This is headed towards the grand exit portal. But most remain asleep, unconscious, performing the same destructive patterns, actions, and emotions without a true desire to transmute themselves. This is because most of what we term the masses are not even real. I know, you might say, but I see people everywhere. I can talk to them, ask them about their pasts, so isn't it judgmental to write off the majority of people as soulless? No, it is not. This construct is designed for the game players. Those who are awakening actually have eternal forms that are sleeping, dreaming up this state, and I have many videos on this topic if you have not seen them yet. Those who aren't, quote, waking up, can't wake up because they're temporary consciousness a part of this overlay, akin to beings we project in our dreams, a mechanism of a sub and unconscious projection. Even though, yeah, in dreams you can talk to them, you can hang out with them, you might not even realize you're having a dream. There are a finite number of us, and the rest are simply empty shells acting as filler, just like any video game or movie. We inhabit similar looking avatars, but only a few contain true heart essence. We must have non-player characters, background people, to display to us everything that love is not, played out in culture, politics, in social dynamics, in art. The proclamations that people are so asleep, or why won't anybody realize what I'm realizing, are very important. The observation that you are expanding in a sea of consciousness that has no intention of expansion should tell you what is actually happening. You are a player in a temporary realm. Not only is the scenery, the cities, the landscapes temporary, but the people are also temporary. Without these filler characters around us, the game players would be the only ones in this construct, and the game couldn't be performed. If we are the main actors, the soulless beings are who we'd term the extras. Are extras important to movies? Yes, they are. They are more important than we think. A movie without extras wouldn't be believable. Likewise, this simulation of consciousness couldn't be sustained without non-player characters moving in the background, and even interacting with us in our day-to-day lives. These extras act out scripts to project our shadows onto external events and personal dramas, even playing out in our lives to teach us that which remains hidden within ourselves. This is where we get the idea that friends, family, neighbors, co-workers involve us in specific scenarios in order to help release what we aren't releasing ourselves. In these cases, the extras take on the roles of being great mirrors and reflections. After all, extras in a movie are there to support the main characters. These scripts can be personal, but they can also act out in mainstream current events. Everything is here to guide us into an inwards process of divine reclamation. It might not seem that way when we're stuck in the third dimensional perspective in which we think everything is based in master-slave think or oppressor-victim scenarios. But I implore you to have an open mind about this, an open heart to this. We call these beings artificial intelligence because they are akin to programs. They are not living sentient lives like the living souls. They are algorithms manifested in human form. This answers the question, why are so many stuck in patterns, can only give what sounds like programmed responses, can't think or live outside of the predestined box? It's like no matter what information many are exposed to, they're simply attached to the mainstream narratives in their specific sphere of influence. It's because they are temporary consciousness. They are what we would call soulless or non-player characters. They are dualism manifested.
I think he's an NPC.
A what? English, please.
A non-player character. He's part of the game. So anything we ask him, he only has his programmed series of responses.
NPCs are merely aspects of the game with a programmed consciousness designed to help the players. We are in a virtual reality of consciousness, and the binary schematic we've been trying to resolve is reflected back to us in full, in culture, in the unawakened masses. We've talked about this in prior videos. Duality is a binary type of consciousness. Good and evil is akin to ones and zeros. So we are collectively dreaming up this state in order to get rid of duality. And in order to get rid of something, it must be reflected in the external, as within, so without. So duality has projected this construct, and therefore the majority of people are built in with the same consciousness and are built in within the construct. Like the living souls exist outside the NPCs, they're a part of this dream state. I'm not saying that NPCs are evil or bad. That's not the point of this video. They come in all shapes and sizes. But ultimately the question is one going through a process of divine reclamation? And has one been going through this process? After all, that's what this experience is. That's what this construct is here for. It's here so we can resolve ourselves and go home. So if one has not been actively transforming through transmutation, then they are a non-player character.
What are they?
Sentient programs. They can move in and out of any software still hardwired to their system. That means that anyone we haven't unplugged is potentially an agent. Inside the Matrix, they are everyone, and they are no one.
This may be difficult to digest. To say most people are dead would mean many of your loved ones, friends, family, teachers, favorite musicians are not organic forces like you thought, but are a part of a complex AI consciousness. A soulless being appears as full of life as anyone, but we're dealing not with a complete person as we think of on all levels. We're dealing with something that suggests a constructed reflex machine, which can mimic a true being. An organic portal can seem to have creative ideas, moments they hold dear to their heart, but at the end of the day, their function is to consent to and sustain the energy extraction matrix. Their AI software dictates that their life will be focused on material, monetary, personal, and fleshly interest. The 20th century Russian esoteric author Boris Maraviv wrote in his work Gnosis that there are two types of humans, Adamic man and pre-Adamic man. This is how he classified the organic portals, or soulless beings, and the living souls. Maraviv writes, the scriptures contain more than one reference to the coexistence of these two humanities, which are now alike in form, but unlike in essence. The anthropoid race are the descendants of pre-Adamic humanity. The principal difference between contemporary pre-Adamic man and Adamic man, a difference which is not perceived by the senses, is that the former does not possess the developed higher centers that exist in the latter, which, although they have been cut off from his waking consciousness since the fall, offer him a real possibility of esoteric evolution.